All right, so there we go. I just sent that off, Jimmy, so they'll be coming in here shortly with us. Do you want to start the program and then?
Yeah, go ahead and run our promo, and then as they come in, just have them come on in and be fine.
All right, good. I'll be watching for them, so they'll be coming here shortly. So let's do that. Let's get the program started, and let's go live right now.
You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, and exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. And now, here is Disney.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome in. Welcome into the big picture. We're so glad you're here with us tonight. We have got Jimmy Bell. We all know Jimmy. Oh my goodness, he's got numerous Facebook pages. He's been on YouTube. He's really cranking it up. He's an apostate of the highest order.
Well, thanks, Rick.
Well, how do you like that? I mean, isn't that a good build-up?
That is a good build-up. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, you're doing good, so that's good. You got a good following. So we do have Laurel in with us. We're going to add her to the stream.
Oh,
and
cool.
We got Laurie as well. Let's put Laurie in. Laurie, let's see. Why aren't we getting Laurie in? Let's add. Okay, there's Laurie. So we got them all in. You got your girls with you tonight.
Yes,
so
I do. Go. My team. So I hope everyone's doing well tonight. Again, Rick, thank you so much for the platform of Six Screens so that we can be able to get our information out and try to help folks in what is this crazy world we're living in. So, yeah. So tonight I am going to open up the phone lines tonight to take questions from the audience. I know that some of the episodes that we've done, we've had so much information that we wanted to get out to folks that we just ran out of time for taking questions. Now, when we do take questions this evening, I want folks to know that if I don't know the answer to something, I'm going to be honest with you and let you know I don't know. If it's something that I haven't done research on, I'm going to let you know that too. And so what I would like is if you've been following the big picture, we've done 8 episodes so far. And episodes 1, 7, and 8 were more political, if you want to say that. Episodes 2 through 6 was tying Watchtower to being a propaganda arm of the globalist agenda, the deep state, if that's what you want to call them. And so I'm hoping that you've gone and watched those videos and you've jotted down some questions, because that's where I would like for most of the questions to come from, not specifically just from there, but that's what I like to do. It's kind of like a review of what we've gone over the past 4.5 months. Another thing, I'm not here to debate anyone. I'm not here to debate. What I've been trying to do ever since I woke up from Watchtower is just get information out. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm here to show you the other side of the story, so to speak. I mean, I know that Rick's audience is, a little older, and a lot of y'all do know who Paul Harvey is. And Paul Harvey was famous for saying, and that's the rest of the story, or something to that effect is what he said. So that's what we're trying to do, because we know that we are in an information war. That's 100% fact right there. And I know that I was listening to JW World News a little while ago, and they were talking about Watchtower declaring war on the apostates. Now, they're not declaring a war as far as guns, missiles, and bombs and all that. So, what war is Watchtower talking about? Watchtower's talking about an information war. And so this is why they don't want Watchtower. They don't want the full-in Jehovah's Witnesses watching our material or going and doing their own research. And what I want folks to think about this is too, I want you to go back and pretend like you're still in the Watchtower. Okay? There's a reason why I'm saying this. Pretend like you're in the Watchtower. And I just came up to you and told about an information war.
Excuse me one second.
So this is why they don't want Watchtower. I just came up to you talking about an information. That's weird. I just said that. We good, Rick?
We're all set. Yeah, I was just trying to put this on another platform.
Okay.
You might, if you hear a little bit of gibbly gobbly, don't worry, it'll be just shot and over with. Yep.
Okay. So again, all right. So pretend like you're still in the Watchtower, and I just came up to you and said, "Hey, I got some information about 607, and that it's not correct." What would you do if you were still in that Watchtower mentality? What would you do? One, you'd probably ignore it, and two, you would tell me I'm wrong, and three, you probably wouldn't go and question it. Or what if I came up to you while you were in that Watchtower mentality and said, "Hey, you know, this 1914 thing is a joke." Or I told you, "You know, Watchtower's getting rid of all their material. Why are they doing this?" Or Watchtower was involved with the UN. These are things that in that Watchtower mentality, you would have just probably wouldn't go. You wouldn't listen to it. You would reject it. You would call me crazy. You would call me, other names possibly. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is because, yes, a lot of us have woke up from the Watchtower indoctrination. But there's a bigger indoctrination out there, and that is the world that we're living in. So when I tell you a fact on something that's actually legit, please don't dismiss it. Look it up for yourself. This is what I encourage. I'm here to give you information that you can take and look up for yourself. That's why I do what I do, is because I'm just trying to help people wake up. And that's been Lori's goal. That's been Laurel's goal, is we want folks to wake up. And unfortunately, the psychological damage that this world, this system, as far as the globalists, the deep state, they've affected a lot of people. And I'm going to go back to a point from episode 1 where we talked about information warfare. And let me just reiterate this real quick, and then we'll get into the rest of the show tonight. Information warfare, let me start over. As different from cyber warfare that attacks computers, software, and command control systems. It's a concept involving the battle space use of management of information and communication technology. Think about big tech there. In pursuit of a competitive advantage over an opponent. Information warfare is the manipulation of information trusted by a target without the target's awareness, so that the target will make decisions against their interest, but in the interest of the one conducting information warfare. Think about that. And these are the things that they use. It does take many forms. Television, internet, radio transmissions, telephone, internet, and radio transmissions can be hijacked for a disinformation campaign. Every communications network can be disabled or spoofed, especially online. So they use different tactics to get people to believe what they're putting out there. And if you look at the trailer of The Big Picture, we have a thing on there that says the war is fake, or hold on, what was it? The news is fake, the war is real. But we're not talking about a war with bombs, missiles, and guns and people dying all over the place, thank God. We're talking about an information warfare. And in tonight's episode, I'm going to take questions from the audience, but I also have a few points of some current events that I want people to consider because it's very important as we move forward. Now, just a little bit of a housekeeping note. This episode is going to be, we're going to take a little break, and we will be back on Six Screens on December 10th. The reason we're taking a break is, one, I've got vacation in November with my wifey. Two, there's a lot of things going on right now that need to play out so that when we come back on, we can actually explain to folks, hey, this is why this happened. This is why that happened. And I don't think people really understand how much time and energy it takes to put these videos together. You know, I'll once I get done with one video, I'm already in my head thinking about the next one. And sometimes when I've got work and a lot of other things that I have to take care of, it can get a little draining. So I just need a little bit of a break. And so that's why we will be back on December 10th with the big picture. So I just want to let you folks know that. And also, if you haven't watched the other episodes that we've done, I'm putting everything on BitChute. And I'm sure I'll be able to get a link in the comments or just shoot me a message, or Rick can put it in the description of this video where you can find the videos for the big picture on BitChute. I've also uploaded a couple of episodes of the Roundtable so that people can look at those. There's very good information in those as well. And especially the one about the Great Reset. Go watch that. Okay, that's my opening. What do y'all think so far? How y'all been?
That's pretty good, Jimmy.
So isn't it true, Lori and Laurel, when you talk to a Jehovah's Witness, and because don't you guys still have a couple of friends that are still in the organization? Or do y'all pay any attention? Do y'all talk to anybody in the organization anymore?
They don't talk to me anymore.
They just don't talk to you?
I do. Just, yeah, I'm in Facebook groups where I do.
Okay. But yeah, it's true. I mean, when
I
you...
just wanted to say, my Wi-Fi keeps going in and out, so if I look at you like I don't know what you're talking about, it's because I probably didn't hear you.
Okay, yeah, the last couple of weeks, we've had some issues here with our Wi-Fi. We had that storm come through, so we were knocked out there. That was one reason we couldn't be on a couple of weeks ago. But...
and I'm using we've got no Wi-Fi. I'm using my neighbor's Wi-Fi, so...
Yeah,
I feel like I've been sabotaged. We live in a gated community here, and we're the only ones with no Wi-Fi in the whole. And this is the third time in 2 months that my Wi-Fi's gone out. So I don't know what's going on.
Wow. Okay. All right. So tonight I figured we would talk about a couple of things. I want to touch on, and we're going to be doing current events, folks. I want to touch on Ukraine a little bit. I want to touch on the Twitter deal and the censorship going on there. I might do that one first. And then I want to talk about the Danchenko stuff, the Danchenko trial that's going on and what that plays into. And folks, there's a reason why I want to discuss these things, because these are the things that are in the news right now. And unfortunately, it's so deep that it's going to be very difficult for me and the team to explain it all in an hour and a half. It's just so deep that a lot of people wouldn't even believe. This is why I opened this up with the whole apostate watchtower thinking. A lot of people just aren't going to believe that some of this stuff that's happening is possible. So the first thing we'll talk about is the censorship. And we have all experienced it. I've been kicked off Facebook. I think I've got 67, 68 Facebook violations now. I've received checks on or marks on YouTube. And so we know the censorship is real. Laurel is was kicked off of Facebook, lifetime ban, weren't you, until you created a new thing?
On a different appliance as well, a different
Yeah,
laptop.
yeah, because they can track your device to know that if you're trying to, they have a way to be able to identify you if you're trying to get on another device with the same username and password. They're very, very, very.
I had to use my husband's phone number. I had to use my maiden name. I had to make up everything in order for them to give me another Facebook account. And,
Wow.
and I'm ready to throw it away anyway.
I know, right?
I'm so tired of the censorship. It's pathetic.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And Laura, you've been kicked off Facebook too, haven't you? Have you
Yep.
have you spent some
Sure
time in
have.
jail? You said you have?
I have.
Okay.
I post more on everybody else's instead of my own.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't post that much on Facebook.
Okay, so we know that the censorship is real. So why are they doing this? Why are they controlling the information? Well, like we said when we put out the definition for information warfare, it said it's the manipulation of information trusted by a target, which the target is you, we the people, without the target's awareness, so that the target will make decisions against their interest, but in the interest of the one who is conducting the information warfare. So let's go look at Twitter and what's going on with that right now with Elon. Elon is wanting to buy Twitter. The Twitter shareholders are all for it, but the Twitter board is not. Does that make any sense? Shouldn't the Twitter board be happy that someone wants to buy this platform? But they are, for lack of better words, pussyfooting around with this deal because they really don't want it to go through. Why?
No,
Go ahead, Laurel.
I was just going to say no, because they pretend to be so liberal and so into free speech. But as soon as somebody starts saying something that's not in their agenda, they don't want it there. So they're very afraid of Elon Musk getting on, because he's already said that he will reinstate people that Twitter has taken off. So they're scared. They're scared of people finding out what their agenda is, and it's all the same agenda.
And the thing is it goes a little bit deeper than that too, than people just finding out what their agenda is. They propose, or Twitter says that they have all these millions and millions of users.
The bots.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. But what Twitter is afraid of being exposed is the fact that all these millions and millions of users they have aren't real. They are fake. And I've got evidence of, like, when a story comes out, they'll have a line, they'll have their little talking point, and you'll find 50 to 100 accounts saying the same thing. They put that out in mass so that they're hoping that one of their little Twitter bots gets to somebody and, sways them into believing the information they're putting out. The problem with that is the shareholders have been sold a raw deal. So once the shareholders find out that all these things are bots, the board could be open up for a lawsuit from the shareholders, because it's false information, and that could end up going into the SEC. And so Twitter is pretty much screwed either way they go. If Elon buys it, we'll see what happens as far as him letting people back on and letting it be a free-flowing, free speech platform. If they don't let him buy it, or something happens in that regard, they can be exposed for nefarious dealings. Now, I know folks are like, why is Jimmy talking about Twitter? Well, it's not just Twitter. It's Facebook, it's Instagram, it's TikTok. It's all these platforms that are controlled by the deep state. And, I had another point. Oh, the other thing is, and this is true, that the government is actually reaching out to Twitter and Facebook. They actually have a hotline to the big tech companies to where when they want someone censored, they make the call and have that person censored. What does that sound like? The government getting involved with a big corporation to violate a First Amendment right. What does that sound like? That sounds like something the Nazis would have done.
It sounds like propaganda. It sounds like government propaganda that they're trying to get out by using something that they know that everybody uses.
Exactly.
And it sounds like communist and total totalitarian.
Yeah, and like I just seen it. For the folks on my YouTube channel, y'all's comments come up a little bit, but then it disappears. But I just saw one that said it sounds like China. And yes, that's exactly what this is. And what people need to realize is this deep state global, and we've said this before, but this deep state globalist system is not just in the United States. It's in many other countries. And so China has their deep state. England has their deep state. Iran, any country that has a Rockefeller, Rothschild central bank system has a deep state. And they're working to overthrow the will of the people of those certain countries. So we know that China, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, we know that they try to control the information.
Sorry.
Has a deep state.
And so that's what we see here in the United States is our information is being controlled. So watch this Twitter thing very closely because it's going to expose a lot of stuff. And I think big tech has painted themselves into a corner, especially when it comes to like the fact checkers, because that's already been proven in court that fact checking is just an opinion. And then what do? When they put up a fact check, they put a what? Mainstream media article to go to. Oh, we found that your information is false, so please read why on this CNN news article. So it's a circular thing that they do. They put out the information.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was doing some research, thinking about this fact checking for a while, and because it'll come up, fact checkers. If the majority of people think as soon as it says fact check that it's false, and they just let it go. But the percentage of people that actually open it and look to see what was false, the next thing fact checkers will do is they will put maybe missing content or and then when you read what they're talking about. Is that me or?
No, that's the other. Go ahead, Lori. You said that the fact checkers put up missing content.
Of the story that they're saying isn't. I'm sorry.
Internet.
The point of the story is usually not even the part that's the fact checked.
Correct. Yeah, you're lagging a little bit, Lori. So when you're talking, we'll just shut up until you give us a thumbs up to make sure you're done talking.
Okay.
And I could add something to that to seeing as this crowd is ex-JW crowd. I'm old enough to remember years and years ago a Canadian case where Glenn Howe, the Watchtower, took the whole government, took all of Canada to court for freedom of religion, but also it wasn't just freedom of religion, it was freedom of speech. And they won. They won saying that there was freedom of speech. And it's exactly the same as the government. As long as you're saying as long as they had their freedom of speech to go and knock on people's doors and tell people what they want to say, then it's fine. But as soon as us so-called apostates say anything against their narrative, then we are fact-checked or we're canceled.
Oh, exactly.
We're apostates and we're canceled. So yeah, they're very similar.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've told people before that, you got to know what their playbook is. And if we go back to the 1930s, the 1940s, and look what was being done in Nazi Germany, they burned books. I mean, the burning books goes back a long time, not just with Nazi Germany. But if the powers to be want to stay in control and have that control over the people, they have to get rid of information that was produced by the folks that are trying to expose them. So, and it's just like Watchtower today. We know that what was put out in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, Watchtower doesn't want people reading that stuff now because they've done pretty much moved on. They keep moving on and they're trying to get younger generation because they know that the older folks are dying out, whatever. So they want to focus on the younger ones so they can mold their minds to think the way Watchtower is now. Oh, just ignore that stuff. It was old light. We've got new light
You know
now.
what I say to anybody that brings that up? I always say, well, there's truth or there's a lie. Is there anything in between? You're either telling the truth or you're telling a lie, right?
Correct.
And so what they're doing, if they're saying it's new light and new information, well, what about the old stuff that I learned when I was still a JW? What about that? So that is now, that's how I reason. So if what you're learning now is the truth, what you knew then is a lie. So basically, you're getting your information from Jehovah and he lied to you. So, and there's a scripture in the Bible that says God can't tell a lie. So I've found by telling that to people, it just shuts them right up. They don't know what to say.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, few people haven't talked to me after that.
I know, right? I just saw a comment on the YouTube channel and it said, is Watchtower taking a lesson from the government or is the government taking lessons from Watchtower when it comes to
They're all
censoring?
part of it.
And
They're
I
all
will,
together.
yeah, and I will tell that that commenter, I don't know what your name was, but I'll tell you, I do believe that the government basically started all this stuff and Watchtower is following their lead. Because if we go back in time and we look at the history, when Watchtower started, what, 1872, 1879, somewhere in that area, and Watchtower was created to be a propaganda arm for these people. So the governments, the high-ranking socialists or the communists at the time, the influencers, they all got together, created their little system, and they needed propaganda arms to push their agenda. And this is the same thing that we see with the media. We already know that the media is all basically what 98-99% of the media is owned by 6 corporations, and all 6 of those corporations have ties back to either George Soros or the World Economic Forum, BlackRock, or something like that.
BlackRock, Vanguard.
Yeah. So to that viewer, yeah, I believe Watchtower is just capitalized on what the government wants them to do. And then that's why I think that Watchtower, and this is me speculating, but that's why I think Watchtower gets, quote, favors when they go to court.
Yeah, they sure did for a long time. I don't think they're going to get it anymore, but they did.
I think their little favors will be coming to. Now, I think they may still get some favors, in Europe and some other countries that don't have a constitution. But once some of these lawsuits start hitting the United States, I think some things are changing within the United States to where Watchtower will be held accountable. This is why I say I do believe that once the deep state globalists fall, Watchtower's right behind them. I really do believe that. I do believe that.
No, for sure. Well, the thing is, pedophilia runs so rampant with, as a matter of fact, I was just reading an article just before we went on air about the teachers and how many teachers are actually they go in to become teachers because they're pedophiles. And they gave a number, and it's in the United States, of course. And it's just unbelievable. And they were saying if they add up and what they're doing, and it reminded me so much of Watchtower, what the teachers unions are doing is they find out that a teacher is a pedophile and they move them to a different school district. They don't fire them. They move them to a different school district. They move them somewhere. They don't, no punishment, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gone. So they said they have no idea how many pedophiles are actually still teaching our kids. And isn't that exactly what Watchtower does?
Yep.
They find out there's a pedophile and first of all, try to shut them up. That doesn't work. Well, maybe you should go to a different congregation, or, you know, maybe they tell the person that's abused, well, maybe your family should move, or, you know, like separate them. But other than that, don't do anything else about it.
Correct. Laura, did you have a comment on that?
Hey, Jimmy.
Okay, we'll take a call. Yes.
Yeah, this is Ken. This is my first time calling, and I don't know if I'm jumping ahead because I'm very, very interested in the Watchtower and the Great Reset, you know, and I've been talking to, you know, I'm a Primo, and I've been talking to, I worked at Bethel at Walk Hill, Watchtower Farms, and I keep in contact with former Bethelites, and I'm trying to bring to their attention the connection with the Watchtower and the Great Reset with George Soros and Klaus Schwab and everything. How is it now? If I'm jumping ahead, you can let me know. But how is it that with this connection that the Watchtower have, you know, with these big guys, how are they able to hide it? Like when I try to bring it to their attention, how is it that the Watchtower is able to conceal this connection if they're so deep off into it, you know, into the Great Reset and connected with Klaus Schwab and George Soros and the Democrat states? Because when I bring it to the attention of these former Bethelites, I mean, they're like, no way, dude, no way they can be connected with them. So how is it that they're able to conceal and hide it, you know, in plain sight, you know, if they're so deep connected with these guys?
Okay. That's a great question. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'll address that. If we look at not just Watchtower, but the governments themselves, you know, they put up a front. Let's say, for example, you know, you have a president, okay? They put the guy up front. The president would be equal to, let's just say, the governing body, okay? And so the president comes out, puts all this information out, uses mass media to get his information out, and it manipulates the public's thinking. Same thing with Watchtower. The governing body comes out, they put information out, they use all their resources to get it out to their people, and everybody believes it. Whereas they don't expose the people behind the scenes. Do you really think the governing body's making all the decisions for Watchtower? No. Do you really think that the president of the corporation of the United States is making all the decisions for the United States and the people? No. So they have layers. They have different levels of hierarchy that they keep hidden. You know, I hate to say it, but it's like when Trump said that we are fighting an invisible enemy. This is who he's referring to. These levels past these puppet that they have in office or have pushing their agenda. And so because of the mind control and they've gotten really good at it. I mean, you got to give them credit for what they've done. I mean, it's evil crap, but they've been brilliant in manipulating people's minds and the way we think about things. That's the reason why they've been able to hide these things for so long. And because people just accept what our leaders say, they don't look into it. And this is what these people are counting on. And this is why they call them sheep. You know, because they will basically do whatever we put out there. Does that help you a little bit? Does that answer your question?
Can I just add a little something to that?
Sure, Laura, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's like puppet masters, you know, you have the string, somebody pulls the string at the top. And we all thought for years that the governing body were about as high up in the watchtower as you could go. But through our research, we found out no, that the watchtower is owned. Watchtower is owned out of the city of London. That is the financial, that's the financial center of the whole world. They're worth billions of dollars. They have hedge funds. They party. The governing body. I don't know. I know that it's a requisite that some of them have to be Freemasons, but I'm not sure about all of them. But I do know that some of them are. And a prerequisite for almost every president that's ever gotten in has to be a Freemason. These guys that are Freemasons and part of the Illuminati, they have a brotherhood. Before they say anything bad about it, they die first. They have to do oaths and all this kind of stuff. So Watchtower is very much a part of that. It's and if you go back to some of our previous videos, you'll find out that that they are in cahoots with the Democratic Party. They get money. They get funded by the Democratic Party. They work with them. They tell their parishioners to stay out of politics, but they are in politics up to here. They know exactly what's going on.
Right. Yeah. I can understand both of y'all comments on that. They and actually, in the magazines, I don't know if y'all knew this, but they actually have Klaus Schwab and George Soros in the magazine.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, I've seen it. They've actually quoted, they've put in print things that they've quoted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so
recently or a while ago?
That's within the last what?
Klaus Schwab. I know Klaus Schwab, I think, is more recent because I think they was talking about, because they quoted him or something, and I think it was more recent because of the, because he's like Klaus Schwab is like new on the scene to me. You know, I never really heard of this guy until COVID, and he started talking more about, about the world situation. I started listening to him with his, with the Great Reset and everything. So I think Klaus Schwab is more recent quotes, in the magazine. But yeah, I'll send that to these guys and say, look, man. I mean, look, they got Klaus Schwab, George Soros. They're not condemning these guys. Look what they're like. They got a relationship with these guys. That's what I'll be trying to tell them. But
and you're exactly right. And you got to think about, why is Watchtower doing that? Because they are trying to get their information out to the masses, painting Klaus Schwab or George Soros in a good light. That these guys are good. They care about humanity. All right. When in the long term, we know that they don't give a crap about that. They want to push their agenda. But if they get enough people following them and be like, and
another post.
Go ahead. I just lost the train of thought. Go ahead, Laurel.
Okay. I was going to say, and another thing is really simple. All you have to do is just think simply. Klaus Schwab wrote a book called The New World Order.
Great Reset.
We've quoted from it, or the Great Reset. Sorry, there was another one called The New World Order by somebody else, but yeah, the Great Reset.
I didn't know that.
There's he talks about always talking about the New World Order. We have so many videos of him talking about it and what they plan to do with the New World Order, and their agenda is exactly the same as the Watchtower. That's how you go to it. That mass genocide of most of the people on Earth. Then just go by Watchtower and what they call themselves. You're going to live in the New World. Their Bible is the New World Bible. they say they're going to live in the system of things. They don't call it a religion, they call it an organization. All these are terms that are used by Klaus Schwab and the New World Order.
Yep. Have you what was your name? Kane? Con? Caller.
What was that?
What was your name?
Ken.
Ken. Okay. Sorry, I wrote it down. Ken, did you have you watched our the roundtable episode that we did on the Great Reset?
No, but I want to. I really do. You
Okay.
know, I'm very interested. I want to watch it. Yeah.
Do you have
I
Facebook?
haven't watched it.
Do you have Facebook?
You know what? That's the deal. I do have a Facebook account, but I'm not like heavily on there.
All right. If you could just find me on there, just go to Messenger and just search for me, and I can send you a link so that you can go directly to it and find it. It is on the It is on the BitChute channel, so that's what I'll send you. But yeah, just find me on Facebook, and I'll get that information to you so you can check that out. I actually feel really proud of that episode. We did a good job with that one.
It was good. Long,
Jimmy Bell?
but good.
Jimmy Bell?
Yeah,
Jimmy?
Jimmy. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jimmy Bell. I definitely will message you, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'll be looking for it. Did you have any other comment you wanted to make on this?
Not right now, but things do come in, things pop up in my head, but not right now.
Okay, great. Okay, cool. All right. Do we have anyone else on the line that wants to, before we move into our next topic? Anybody else want to call in and ask a question or make a statement?
You know what? I do have something. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You can go, Ken. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Well, since it was mentioned about London being the financial capital of the world, do you have any thoughts about now it's King Charles, and what do you see as his part in the Great Reset, and do you see that growing in the future?
Okay, so this is where one of those things that I'm gonna speculate on, okay? Because of the information that I've looked at, this is just my thought about the whole King Charles thing. How's the best way to explain this? One, yes, he is completely on board with the Great Reset. He's completely in bed with George Soros and Klaus Schwab. He's completely subservient to the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. So he is going to, now that's not speculation, that's actual fact. So he's going to basically still push the agenda that they want to push. Will he be successful? I don't think so. Will he be around long enough to see some of this stuff happen? I don't think so, because he has a lot of skeletons in his closet that I do believe will eventually be exposed to the public. Some horrifying details of things that he's done in his life.
Yeah.
And
He's
so,
a very bad man.
yeah. So for me, King Charles isn't even a factor. It's just going to be one of those events that I watch that when it does go down, and I'm praying and hoping that everything goes down the way it needs to go down, that I'll be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That falls right into what we've been looking at. So yeah, I don't think he's even going to play a factor in anything.
Hello.
And then the next, oh yeah, sorry.
Ken? Or whoever that was?
Hello. Hi, quick comment.
Sure.
Hello. Hi, Jimmy and company. Thank you so much for the research you're doing. I do a ton of it myself, and so I appreciate it when others do also. I'm of the not belief myself, but what I hear from individuals that happen to be from deep. Well, he's my favorite Texan YouTuber. He's called Jason Bashir, and it's called Archaic.
Oh yeah.
And the man studies chronology, and which really is history. And basically, near as he is seen in the scene, he speaks very much about these resets. These resets are tied into natural occurring phenomena that the governments know about, and they use them to hide their resets.
Yep.
They take advantage of these things, number one. Number two, near as he knows and he can see, he's showing that there's going to be a massive turnaround from the socialist to something far right, to an extreme. In other words, if it's so socialist and heavily socialist now, it's going to be exactly opposite.
Yeah.
And
It's already happening.
And it may become very oppressive because of that, to the extent where the religious right might be part of it as well. Now, I don't know where something like Watchtower would fit into that, and frankly, I hope they don't. But it's just interesting what we might be facing a big turnabout that might be worse than what we're seeing right now.
I understand that, and I really hope that the people will wake up enough to realize that yes, socialism, communism is bad, but if you take it too far to the right, that's just as bad. And
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I think.
I mean, once people, oh, go ahead, caller.
I don't mean to jump around, but personally, the information I believe is good, but I get so antsy to where I say, we must do something. We must do something, even if it's on a local level. We're faded right now. I have a family that's shunning us,
I do too.
but we're fading. We just lodged a letter from our lawyer to our congregation, basically politely warning them not to do anything stupid and not to say anything stupid.
Yeah, didn't you just read that letter on Rick's show a little while ago?
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah, I heard that.
And the next step we're going on a local radio program.
Nice.
And the goal is to expose what's going on with witnesses to the community. The community needs to know. We know. Well, that's not good enough. They need to know.
Exactly, Joe. And I appreciate your comment. And that's why we do what we do. Where you're going out and wanting to get on a radio show and warn the public about Jehovah's Witnesses and how evil they are. That's why we do what we do, because personally, I've gone past trying to expose Watchtower and its doctrines and I'm here to expose the connections that they have to the deep state, the globalist, and expose that system to people in the public. That's why I do what I do.
That's good. Yeah, well, that's why we listen to you, Jimmy.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, welcome to activism.
Exactly. Yes. And that's the thing, folks. That's why I've always said there doesn't need to be a number one apostate in the XJW community. That needs to just go away. All right? Because everybody who has woke up from the indoctrination of being a member of Jehovah's Witnesses and speaks to other people about how evil Watchtower is, we're all activists. We're all whistleblowers.
Jumping in quick, I think we call it unwitnessing.
Yeah, exactly. The unwitnessing work. Okay, so any further comment?
I have something to talk to you about.
Okay.
You could do a something called protest at local arenas and set up a protest at assemblies and conventions.
You know, I've thought about that, but here's my personal opinion on doing protests at conventions or assemblies. Can they be effective? Yes. Um, will you be able to get time to explain to people why you feel the way you do? Not really. Will people look at a sign and think, okay, well, maybe I should go look that up? No, because they're conditioned to completely ignore the people outside. So, because the Jehovah's Witnesses are in their little quote bubble, you know, there might be somebody be like, you know what, I want to go talk to that dude. I want to find out why they believe this. But they're going to be afraid to because all the other witnesses are there. And if that person goes and talks to them, they're going to get told on. So that's why I think it's valuable in doing what we all do when we put videos out there, because in the privacy of their own home, these Jehovah's Witnesses will go look at some of them will go look up stuff because now they're curious. So there are folks
more effective with YouTube. Much more effective.
Yeah, I think you reach a larger audience. I know with me, if I would have gone to a convention and I seen a bunch of people protesting outside as a Jehovah's Witness thinking, I would have completely ignored them. But what it took for me was I had a question. I found out the elders and the circuit overseer weren't going to answer it. So I asked a couple of people in the congregation. They didn't really have any answers. So I went and looked it up for myself. And because of the efforts of apostates that came before me, because of their videos and the information they put out, I was able to look at it on my own in my free time with no one else around me. And it helped me draw my own conclusion and my own opinion about what they were saying. So, can it have some value? Sure. But I think you have much more value with doing things like YouTube videos, going to car crashes and speaking to somebody one-on-one because they can't really run from you there. I mean, they can. I've made them run off. But at least you get a little time with them. So, any other further comment on this?
Did Klaus Schwab mention anything about social credit scores in his book?
Let me look back and see.
'Cause I'm concerned if you're not coming back until December, I'm concerned about everybody's money and buying power and grocery prices and social credit scores.
But they're gonna try. Actually, I don't think Klaus Schwab spoke so much about it, but who is speaking about it is his right-hand man, Novell. Can you remember his name, Novell?
I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I know who you mean, though. I know who you mean.
I can. Yeah, he's spoken about it, and he kind of does a lot of speaking now for Klaus Schwab. So he's talked about it, and I mean they're talking about it, but I wouldn't worry about it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think
we've come too far.
Yeah,
we've come too far, and I really don't think it'll happen.
Yeah. And the reason why, and guys, the reason why we tell you these things like we don't think it's going to happen is because we've actually done some very intensive research on all this stuff. And sometimes it's hard for us to put information out without building the narrative. And that's what I've been trying to do with the big picture. That's why we've started slowly, is because what we're trying to do is show you how this all came to play. Now, we've gone past that. We've seen some, like the social credit score. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have to worry about it in the United States. But will they push it? Yes, they will push it. Go ahead.
Also wanted to bring out the European Bethel branches and their association with OSCE. I can name 2 Bethel branches. One is up in Belgium, and another's up in Ukraine now. These are the Bethel branches. These are the Bethel branches that need to be researched and asked questions on.
Oh yeah, I mean every one of the branches that Watchtower has, they all need to be rated and questioned, which I think in so many things it's already been happening. We just don't see it yet. And that's another thing, folks. There's a lot of things. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Okay. And
that's what I'll throw in right there is that is the reason that we couldn't give you a complete answer on the social credit score. We basically know it's not going to happen, but to give you the evidence on it right now, it's going to take a whole 2-hour show. Plus, like we know from our research, but we have to make the research so that everybody else understands it. And we have to make sure it's all, not just 1 or 2 sources. We look for 3, 4, 5 sources, you know, like journalists do. And so even though we might know something and know it's not going to happen, we have to be able to prove it. So that's kind of why we're taking a little bit of a break. There's so many things happening, and there's things we want to be able to prove to you guys. So we need to do the research.
Yeah. And I hope people will appreciate that and understand that we're very sincere with what we do here at the Big Picture on our Facebook pages. Is we are literally just trying to help wake people up. And this is why I came back to the XJW community with this information, because it has been my experience that so many people wake up from the indoctrination of Watchtower and then they stop, or they go and support these agendas that are being pushed by the deep state, by the globalist. They support these agendas thinking that they're helping. Remember, that's the same attitude with Watchtower. While you're in Watchtower, you're going door to door because you think you're helping people. No, you're helping Watchtower push their agenda. It's the same thing, folks. Same thing. Yeah. Go ahead.
This is Ken again.
Hey, Ken.
When I lived in Arizona, I started doing a lot of research on the United Nations, like around 2008 or 2009. And I used to listen to this woman who used to work with Ronald Reagan back in 81, like 80 and 81. She was on the Board of Education. And she always talked about the United Nations controlling the school system. She said United Nations runs the school system. Now, she went into great detail of the UN and how they operate and their agenda and what they wanted to accomplish. And I started to think, why isn't, way back then, I started thinking, why isn't the Watchtower going into detail like this woman about the United Nations? The only thing the Watchtower has to say about the UN is, they're going to destroy false religion. But I kept thinking, why isn't they giving us detail on the UN's agenda? Like this woman, Charlotte Iserbyt, she passed away 90-some years old up in New England State. But Charlotte Iserbyt was going into detail regarding the UN, and I always question, why isn't the Watchtower doing this? If they want us to be alert, if they want us to be awake regarding the United Nations agenda, something is wrong that they are not exposing UN's agenda like Charlotte Iserbyt is doing. So they're right there raised the red flag when it came to the United Nations, when it came to the Watchtower being connected with the United Nations, because they were not really exposing the reality to Jehovah's Witnesses, the reality of what the UN is really doing. You know, so that right there kind of, you know, woke me up. And then when a special shot came out in 2021 and I saw what they was doing, it really helped me to see these guys are working right along with the UN and Klaus Schwab. You know, I really saw that in 2021 when they kept talking about the percentage of the Bethelites getting this special, you know,
Yeah.
shot and everything. But yeah, so
Yeah.
Yeah, they even opened up some Kingdom Hall parking lots for it.
Yeah.
let me ask you something. Do you have a picture of that? Does anyone have a picture of them with the Kingdom Hall, with them having the tents or whatever set up?
I think I don't have a picture that I can just like go to right now, but I'm sure we can find one. Or I know that there was,
I heard a video, but
yeah, I knew there was a news article done on it.
yeah.
But I think
you can get that, you know.
Yeah, there was a video. There was a video on it, and it actually showed the Kingdom Hall. But that's such a while. I'd have to really look for it.
yeah, I'm sure somebody snapped a picture of it somewhere. We just have to find it. We just had to do we had to dig. But yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, this is what they do. They paint things to be, you know, yeah, it's bad, but they secretly support it. You know, and it's
Right, exactly.
yeah, and it's just part of the game that they play. And, you know, it's like another game that the politicians play is, and I wrote this down. You know, they push laws, or they'll try to pass laws that are unconstitutional, or they will. The state legislation, if it's corrupt, they will pass laws that go against the Constitution. And they do it on purpose. And the reason they do it is because they know that if they push this law and then use their propaganda machine, they can try to convince the people that this law is good for them. And they know that it's going to take months, maybe years, for it to get to the Supreme Court, to where the Supreme Court will come out and say, it's unconstitutional, you can't do that. But in the meantime, they've manipulated the minds of people so that when the court law or the court case or the court action is, what's the word I'm looking for? Instituted, then they'll be like, oh no, the Supreme Court was wrong about that. They shouldn't be doing this because of this, this, and this. And then the people just repeat the propaganda. You know? So it's just like in It's just like in New York right now. Governor Hochul has put laws out that violate the Second Amendment. Well, the Supreme Court came back and said, no, you can't do that. So what did they do? They went out and wrote more laws about this of the Second Amendment that violate. So it's a cycle these people use. And then another thing that they do is, for example, they hide stuff in bills. So we just had the hurricane that came through that affected Florida. Well, there was a bill in Washington to help the people of Florida with money to help rebuild and all that stuff, assistance. In that bill, there's millions of dollars listed in there to go to Ukraine, which we're going to talk about that here in a second. The bill that's designed...
Who lives in that area?
Yeah, hang on just a second while I'm on this little roll. So there's a bill out there to help the people of Florida, but down here, there's millions of dollars to go to Ukraine. So when someone, you know, who is a constitutionalist says, well, I don't think we should be passing this bill because of this little thing down here at the bottom, then what do? The media then says, oh, Jimmy doesn't want to pass the bill that will help Florida. He's such an awful person. But they don't tell the reason why I vetoed it or didn't vote for it, because it had more stuff in there that was unconstitutional. So once you figure out how these people play the game, you can see it clear as day. And that's why we try to put this information out, so people can wake up and see what these folks are doing. Okay. Somebody had a comment? Comment?
There was a lady on there.
Yeah, there was a lady that came on. No?
Hello?
I'm right here. So, I lived in the area impacted by Ian. Mike, if you want to set up the XJW community for that area, start there. The Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Staples area, Tampa, and the Miami area already had XJW meetups. This is a call for all XJWs in the Southwest Florida area. So,
Yeah.
Are there any actual people there helping? Any JWs helping? Because I live in Mexico, and last year we had a hurricane, and there were absolutely no Jehovah's Witnesses that helped with the cleanup. So I'm curious to know if there are any in Florida now.
that's what I'm thinking. I heard from someone saying that only responsible brothers help with the recovery.
You know what? Honestly, I wouldn't want Watchtower any responsible brother helping me, because we know that it's like the government saying we're here to help. Same thing with Watchtower. We're here to help.
But give us your insurance money when you get it.
Exactly.
There's a book that Ken might like called Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins. And I think he has a volume 2 that he just put out more recently. But his name's John Perkins, and the book is called Confessions of an Economic Hitman.
Ooh.
And he may have an interview on YouTube, might be some years old. But he talks about how they go and destroy an area, and then they make the profit going back to build it up.
Yep, exactly. So speaking of
So
that,
it's all real topsy-turvy, and look at the grammar of things carefully, and look at the titles of things carefully, and often the title is exactly the opposite of what they're doing.
oh, absolutely. And they do that with the names of bills. You know,
What is this new one? Inflation reduction?
Yeah, it's not going to reduce anything.
Yeah, well,
Or the Patriot Act. That sounds good. That sounds patriotic, but it's violating your Fourth Amendment. Or the Affordable Care Act. There's nothing affordable about it. So yes, folks, any bill that Congress puts out there and they name it, you have to think the opposite. Same thing with what you see in the news. If they're putting something out there, please think the opposite. And there's reasons why we say this. For one, what time is it? I don't even know.
We only have 15 minutes left, Jimmy. It's 9:45.
Oh, quarter 11, right?
Oh, my time, 9:45. Sorry.
Okay.
9:45.
All right. So let me touch on this real quick, because I do want to talk about this, and hopefully we don't go too far over. One of the biggest things that everybody's talking right now is Ukraine. Now, the information that we want to share with you guys tonight is just from what our research has shown and from what we have learned. And we're going to share that with you. And you can take this information and expound on it further with your own research. But remember we talked about in the beginning, if you were a full NJW sitting in Watchtower and someone told you 607 was fake or a lie, you wouldn't have believed it. So remember why I'm saying that. Because this thing with Ukraine is not what's been portrayed in the media. This thing with Ukraine goes deeper than anybody can even imagine. And remember, to be able to push an agenda, you have to have a boogeyman. So who's Watchtower's boogeyman? Oh, those evil apostates. Or, oh, it's Russia. How many times they talk about Russia in Watchtower? There's a reason why they do that. So this, I don't even know where I need to start with Ukraine. Basically saying that whatever the media is telling you about it is fake. And we have a couple of videos to show you how they manipulate the people. And I think Lori has those. So I'm getting ready to go to Lori here in a second. But another thing I want you guys to look at is go watch the movie Wag the Dog. I think it's from like 1998, somewhere back. What's that?
Sorry.
Okay, so all right, so anyway, watch the movie Wag the Dog. There's a reason why. So when you see these next two videos, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Okay, Lori, do you have those two clips?
I do.
Okay.
Good.
We have a storm coming in and so hang on.
Here we go, and action.
I don't think my internet's gonna work, guys.
Oh no.
I've got it. I've got
Yeah, I said, yeah, you have it on the same one.
Just hold on here. Okay, this is, just let me, this is really short, so I just want to, notice this is in Ukraine, and it is supposed to be people running from the war, supposed to be cars on fire, supposed to be a war zone. And notice the cameras, the camera crew, everything setting it up. And this is what most of the war is.
You see that, folks? Do you see the people just running around?
And see the camera crew there? I'll play it one more time so you can see it.
Okay.
That's one. And
Yeah.
then there was the other one that Lori had. This is our wonderful president there, Zelensky. And they've got him behind a green screen.
It's the video right before that one, Laurel.
It's
It
the
doesn't
top
look
one.
like, it looks like just a black screen with the guy.
Yeah,
It's not
it's
Zelensky on
yeah,
the picture.
that one.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not plain, but I think but anyways, you can get the idea.
Yeah, basically,
It's in a
folks,
green-
what you're
It's a green screen behind him.
yeah, and they use computer generated AI to put some of these. Oh God, yeah, I wish we had that video, but be able to post. But basically, what they're doing in Ukraine is using propaganda. You got it?
No, it's not plain, but it's just showing.
Okay.
No, it's not showing up at the green
Okay.
screen.
So, and they've also been caught using video game footage to push as actually happening. You know, some of the bombings from the planes early on, they've used video game footage on mainstream media to manipulate the minds. So let me tell you folks what happened in 2014, and it goes back a little further than that. But in 2014, the Obama administration conducted a coup on Ukraine because they wanted to have Ukraine eventually become part of NATO, which would be sitting on the doorstep in the backyard of Russia. And so the people of Ukraine in Donetsk and a couple of other areas, the ones that just voted to leave Ukraine, these people did not like the puppet government that the regime put in. This is what these people do. They go in, they overthrow countries, and they put in their puppet governments. Think Yemen, think Syria, think Iraq, think Lebanon, think, oh my God, give me another one. The United States, which
Did you say
just,
Libya?
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Libya.
Or did you say
And
Iraq?
so what they did is they used their influence to go in, overthrow the government, the duly elected government of Ukraine, and put in their own government. Then they started killing the citizens of these folks in Ukraine that live in these areas. Did you hear about that? Have you looked that up? It happened. It's there. And Ukraine was also, the deep state was funneling money into Ukraine to finance the biolabs, which they've been proven to be true and existing. They also funneled money in there for child and human trafficking. And they also funneled money into there for energy companies like Burisma and another one that I can't think of the name of right now. So Ukraine has been the playground for the deep state, and it's sitting on the back, it's in the backyard of Russia. Well, the reason why, Putin has done what he's done is because he doesn't want those biolabs sitting in his back door. He doesn't like human trafficking and child trafficking. And Putin did not go in to invade Ukraine. If he wanted to invade Ukraine and take over that country, he could have done it in a week. What he's doing is special operations to take out certain deep state assets, taking out the biolabs, blowing up the tunnels that they used for human trafficking, and taking the weapons that are being sent by the United States into Ukraine right now. They're all being taken over. So when people say, oh, Putin's going to start World War III, okay, so now let's look and see who's pushing the war effort. Politicians.
Another thing I want to bring out is the Nobel Committee, the Nobel Peace Prize. I've heard about Zelensky getting nominated for that. I'm wondering.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, on the Nobel Committee.
Yeah, the Nobel. I mean, look, they gave Barack Obama a Nobel Peace Prize, and what the hell did he do? Not a damn thing. Sorry, I'm just being straight now.
Sorry, but that was in our last show. Obama dropped, when you add all the bombs and all the places all the wars he started, it added up to, he dropped a bomb every 20 minutes of his eight-year presidency.
Yeah, and he gets a Nobel Prize?
He got a Peace Prize.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the Pulitzer Prize. We're not going to go into this right now, but we need to really touch on this eventually. But this Nobel, the Pulitzer Prize, they gave Pulitzer Prizes to journalists that pushed the Russia thing, which we now know was full of crap. And we're not going to have time. I was going to hope to get into that, but we may just have to do a Facebook Live, ladies, and talk about the Danchenko stuff and that, because that's really important. But folks, what the media is pushing about Ukraine is a lie. I don't know how else to tell you this. So when you go out there and you say, oh, I stand with Ukraine. Oh, really? Do you stand with the neo-Nazis that are killing the people in Ukraine? Do you stand with the neo-Nazis that are child trafficking or conducting child trafficking and funneling...
Stealing children out of hospitals?
Yeah, millions of dollars of taxpayer money? And do you know why they keep having to send money over to Ukraine? Because Zelensky knows all this crap. He has the goods on Biden. Oh, Mr. Biden, we need another $70 billion because if you don't give it to us, we're going to tell the world about you. I'm telling you the truth on this, folks. And so all I'm saying is be careful what you buy into when you're listening to the media. I've seen so many XJWs put on their Facebook page, oh, Putin's this, Putin's that, Putin's this. I've seen it. But
this is what Joe Biden has a lot to do with hiding.
Yeah.
And we have seen that laptop from hell, what they call it.
Yeah.
And that is nothing compared to what's in it. And the Democratic Party, Nancy Pelosi's son works for a company in Ukraine. John Kerry's son works for a company in Ukraine. Hunter Biden does, and there's one other one. Jimmy, do you remember the other one?
Oh,
I can't remember the other one. There's four.
You said Pelosi, right?
The Democratic Democrats have their sons working for oil fields, oil companies in Ukraine.
Yeah, Pelosi, Biden, Kerry.
John Kerry.
Harry,
Who's the fourth one?
there's one more though.
I can't remember the fourth one. So be careful is all I'm saying when you're going out there and you're talking about this stuff, because it goes so much deeper than what people even realize. This thing, and when you hear them saying, "Oh, well, Russia annexed 4 areas of Ukraine," no, those people actually voted to leave Ukraine, just like they did with Crimea. Remember Crimea back in 2014? Crimea knew what the Obama administration was doing, so they wanted to go ahead and vote themselves away from Ukraine to be with Russia. And then you know what the Ukrainian Nazis did? They blew up, or they shut off the bridge and the pipelines that were going into Crimea to give them water. It was a aqueduct or something. They cut off the water to Ukraine. And once Russia went back in and started conducting their special operations, they turned the water back on to Crimea. I bet you didn't hear about that in the news. So, go ahead.
I was just going to say another thing going on that they need a boogeyman all the time.
Yes.
Is think back to the Second World War. Russia and the U.S. were allies. They were together. They fought together. And then what happened after the Second World War? We call it television or movies. Who is the bad guy? Since I can remember, since I was born, and that's a long time ago, in every movie you watch 007 movies, it's always Russia is the bad guy. They've been set up to be the bad guy. Yes, for a while there they were communist and nobody knew what was going on. But we have been brainwashed to think Russia is bad. And a lot of it has come from the television and from movies.
And the reason why is because the United States was infiltrated by these globalist deep state players, along with every member of NATO. NATO is not a good thing, so don't even buy into that either. But see, what Russia did is they kicked out the Rothschilds banking system. They kicked them out. They don't want nothing to do with it. They want to go back on a gold-backed currency. And we know what happens to leaders who want to go to a gold-backed currency. Look what happened to Gaddafi. Look what happened to Saddam. And so this is why they have to have a boogeyman. Oh, and he kicked out Watchtower. So he kicked
at pretty well the same time.
Exactly. So, like I said, folks, hang on.
I want to point out is that Russia used to have a vessel branch up in St. Petersburg, but because of the ban, they were forced to close down the vessel branch, and they wouldn't even merge with Ukraine. That's the other difference between Russia and Ukraine. And when the St. Petersburg branch got closed, the one in Lviv, Ukraine, is still open.
They had the what still open?
The Ukraine vessel branch in Lviv, Western Ukraine, it's still open.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah, there's some more stuff that I need to do some more research on about basically Ukraine not even being recognized as a independent sovereign country, and that they're technically still part of Russia. Yeah, I need to do a little more research on that, but that is what the claim is. Because I think it was like I can't remember who it is, but high up doesn't recognize them as a independent country. So it's just a territory of Russia. So, but like I said, I got to do more research on that. So if that's the case, that would make it an internal matter for that particular country. Kind of like us and Guam or us in the Virgin Islands. That's kind of how I'm thinking that comparison is. But that's what I'm thinking. All right. What are we at? I'm at 1 hour and 24 minutes. So it's getting close to 11 o'clock here. So folks, like I said in the beginning, You know, if I told you that 607 was a lie and you were a full-in Jehovah's Witness, you wouldn't have believed me. If you haven't woken up to what's going on in this world, and I tell you that what you're hearing on Ukraine from the mainstream media is all lies, you probably wouldn't believe me. But all I am recommending is that you go deeper into research. Don't go to Google and do your research. Don't go to DuckDuckGo. I use the Brave search engine because we talked about censorship. And so Google censors stuff, DuckDuckGo censors stuff. So they want to bury this information. They want to burn the books, so to speak, even on the internet. And this is how they do it. So all I'm suggesting is just
Engine again, please.
go ahead. What?
What is your search engine again, please?
It's a Brave, Brave. Just the Brave. It has a lion as a logo or something.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so now I do know, like I said, folks, we need to take a break because the reason why we've got more information on Ukraine coming out. We've got the information on the elections. The elections are getting ready to happen, which I still think that something's going to happen to where those might be postponed. We'll see how it plays out. But you've got the election stuff. You've got Danchenko and his trial. You got the Hunter Biden laptop. You've got the Twitter ordeal. What else do we have going on? Oh, we have all the stuff about the plandemic. Yes, plandemic. Biggest PSYOP ever conducted in our lifetime. Just straight up. So you've got all these certain different little things. Not only that stuff, but you got other things behind the scenes that deal with the financial aspects and there's just so much going on that we need to be able to use our talent of being able to research so that we can get this information together so that we can share it with you guys and help. So that's why I said it'll probably be December 10th when we return. And yeah, that's where we're at right now. So Laurel, any closing comment?
No, I missed Lori tonight. It's too bad about
Yeah, her internet was being...
bad about her computer.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be me tonight. Thank God it wasn't. You would have been talking all by yourself.
I could do it though if I needed to.
Oh, I know you can do it.
I'm glad I didn't have to. To the callers, is there anyone else that has a question or comment that you want to share real quickly before we leave out here? Anything about the past episodes we've done? Anything?
This is Ken again.
Hey, Kim.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Going back to the Putin, because I was talking with this former Bethelite about it. When they were like attacking, they was I don't know if it was before they banned Jehovah's Witnesses or not, or after the ban, but we was wondering why did Putin, he honored a Jehovah's Witness family. I don't know. Did you see that?
I have not. And
I heard something about it. But
yeah, and let me
He actually honored a Jehovah's Witness family for being an outstanding, example.
Yeah, we saw that too.
okay, so let me tell you
Okay, why would he do that? And the witnesses are like under attack by they're in Russia.
all right, so I'm gonna say something that's probably not going to be popular, but because of my research, I feel like this could be possible. Now, I have zero proof of this. I'm letting you know now. I have zero proof, but there is talk out there that the Putin that we see today is not the real Putin. That Putin was involved. He was listed on the World Economic Forum website years ago. He's not on there no more. He's not on there anymore. So is it possible that Putin the old Putin had already been replaced by this new Putin who is against the deep state globalist? There's people that believe that the real Biden is no longer with us. They believe that the Biden is fake too. Laurel, help me out here.
I was also going to say that we all know that it's not the individual Jehovah's Witness families that are bad people. They're usually really nice, good people that have been brainwashed. And I believe that probably the leaders and governing body and the people that were running Bethel and those ones are probably having a rougher time because they'd be fighting the government a lot more. But I think that even we know a few things I've looked into, and most of the governments know that Jehovah's Witnesses are good people stuck in a brainwashed religion. They're brainwashed and they need to be deprogrammed. And I'm sure that's maybe what Putin, he probably knew there are some good people, but the religion is rotten.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Yeah. So, but we'll I need to have an episode to where people just ask me some of the conspiracy stuff. Maybe we'll do that just on the Facebook Lives. We won't do that on Rick's channel. So we'll do that on our Facebook Lives. Because I'm telling you guys, I could tell you a lot more stuff that you'd be like, what, Jimmy? You done actually lost your daggone mind. All right. So anyway, let me give you this real quick. See, if you want to keep up with what we do, you can follow me on Facebook. Just look for Jimmy Bell. You can find me there. You can find The Big Picture. We have a Facebook page on there. We also have Is Watchtower Deep State? That's another Facebook group that I have. Also, just me on YouTube. My name, Jimmy Bell. And then on the BitChute channel, it's Jimmy Bell 22. And there's a picture of just a head that looks like it has, like it's a thinking thing, like thinking, I don't know, like something coming up. Anyway, I'll find the link. If you want the link, I'll send it to you. But there's different ways to be able to catch up and do what we're doing. Yet, we're not going to do an episode until December 10th. But me and the team have said that as things happen, we will go on Facebook Live and give you guys updates. So the videos are maybe 20, 30 minutes long. And then I will actually put those on YouTube and then get them over into BitChute. All I'm trying to do is just help wake people up, help you see things, because people need, when they go to vote this year, and that's another thing, you need to vote. We'll get into that. I talked a little bit about that on a Facebook Live, but you need to get involved locally. You need to find out who's running, what they stand for, and don't listen to what they say. Watch what they've done or what they do. You need to make sure you get constitutionalists in there. So that's the only way we can overwhelm the system and beat them and take back our country here in the United States. So things are going well. The plan is going well. We just need people to wake up and help expose these folks, just like we do with Watchtower. So anyway, Rick, any thoughts, questions you have, sir?
I'm right here, Jimmy. No, listen intently. It's a great program. Lots of people coming through here tonight. So it's all good. We're moving in the right direction. And I wish you guys the best for the next month or so. We're going to miss you. But we'll see you coming back on December 10th, was it? So that's good. And I'm sure you'll have so much more to share with us. But
we will.
Don't you worry. Don't you worry. We'll bring you back in then. And you guys all be careful and keep waving that flag of victory.
Thank you, Rick. And thank you, folks that support our show. We really do appreciate it. I guess that's it for this evening, huh?
Well, I wanted to tell you.
Thank you for everybody that called in.
Yes.
I want to say this too, that we have I'm looking, see, I have the control panel here in Massachusetts. I've got 6 computers running here, different platforms. But what I'm noticing here tonight, there's an unusual amount of people calling in. It's kind of hard to really tell exactly how many, because they come, they go, they listen, they drop off for a while. But the point would be that the retention rate, well, when you guys first came on, the retention rate of people listening in on the telephone line was remarkably good. I'm going to give you an A plus on that. That generally doesn't happen here on the 6 screens. The telephone line, I've seen that thing drop like, 10, 20 people within an hour, but you kept people listening in. So something was going on here tonight. You got their attention. So keep up the good work.
I appreciate it, Rick. Thank you. And owe it to my
All right.
team.
Thank you, Rick.
Well, thank you guys, and keep waving that flag, and we'll see you. We'll see you in about a month or so. So keep doing your thing. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you,
All
everyone.
right, now, the big picture. My goodness gracious, it is a big picture. Now we're going to be going to after the storm. We still got a number of programs coming up here tonight on the 6th.